that Select Board Member Trish Boyden will not be joining us tonight. Before we begin, Mr. Conley, did you have a statement?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'd just like to ask for a moment of silence in memory and honor of Ernest J. Trombley. He worked for the town of Canton in the maintenance department at Town Hall for 8 years, from 1997 to 2005. But he also spent 23 years in the United States Navy. A lot of it was at the Charlestown Navy Yard refurbishing old Ironsides. He also was a longtime member of the Canton Veterans Service Department Honor Guard, where he continued to honor his fellow servicemen and women. He's survived by his wife, Susan, and several daughters. He has 13 grandchildren and many nieces and nephews. I'd like to ask a moment of silence and keep Ernie and his family in your prayers, and may he rest in peace. Godspeed, Ernie. Godspeed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we tackle the agenda, I also want to make a statement regarding the closing of the Pappas Rehabilitation Hospital. The Select Board learned about this at the same time as many members of the public. The town of Canton was not consulted nor made aware of this decision ahead of time. We are in the process of working with our state leaders to get some more information into what went into this decision. I would caution the public not to jump to any conclusions or spread rumors into potential uses for this property. This board is committed to getting some answers and sharing with the public as soon as we can. All right. That being said, first item on the agenda is our public comment. As a reminder, I read this before public comment each time. The public comment portion of the meeting is an opportunity to listen to residents' feedback and concerns, but the public comment portion of the meeting is not meant to be a question and answer format. There will be no response to any public comment when presented. The public comment portion of the meeting is limited to 15 minutes total and up to 3 minutes per speaker. Those that wish to speak should have their first and last name displayed. I will not call on participants with incomplete or inappropriate names. Anyone who does not wish to speak or who is unable to speak due to the time limit may submit their comments in writing for the board's review and consideration. So with that being said, we will open up public comment at 7:03. And I see Ms. Sweeney's hand is up. So give us just a minute, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Brenda Sweeney, my humble opinion. Intimidation and abuse of power is the way they roll here. If you disagree with those holding the keys to the town of Canton, they use you as cannon fodder. First, an assault and battery charge. 3 witnesses ready to testify no physical contact occurred, but the police couldn't find 2 of the witnesses. 3 officers live literally less than 500 feet from the front door of one, yet Helena couldn't find him. That's called Rafferty 101, selective policing. Next, a decorated sergeant whose name is memorialized for bravery in the lobby of the police station, shamefully treated as the very same fodder. From the Bible, Matthew chapter 25, verses 35 to 36. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you clothed me. Welcoming strangers and clothing people is challenging for one church in town. A donation box out back, but a no trespassing sign out front. You can't get to the box without trespassing, thereby risking a summons to court, all for wanting to help. A church is supposed to carry out the teachings of the Bible as missions. One mission is to help whoever comes to the church door, but how can you come to the door when you can't step on the property? Did this church lose sight of their mission, or could it be just a few members acting independently? Rumor has it Helena needed a no trespassing sign to stop anyone exercising their First Amendment rights, hence the sign. A method to her madness. Get rid of the people out front while causing a chilling effect on anyone else stupid enough to think they had any rights not given to them by Helena. Why is it Helena's mission to find ways to take people to court? Isn't the gun and the badge supposed to protect citizens, not intentionally cause harm? Instead of sitting at home in his very own closet, ignoring the citizens and pretending everything's hunky-dory, perhaps Police Commissioner Loughran can explain why her behavior is acceptable. Helena's taken over the select board. Now she's starting to infringe on the separation of church and state. Our very own Constitution. I hope they don't try banning that from the library. Thomas Jefferson will turn over in his grave. First Paul Revere, now Thomas Jefferson. Canton's going to become famous for yet one more thing, disturbing the final rest of our founding fathers who fought bravely for that very Constitution Helena is actively mocking. But you must be happy, Mr. Loughran. A new tourist attraction means more money. Let's see. Flip a founding father. Maybe topsy-turvy heroes. I got it. The Rafferty Roll. But I digress. Use your vote in April to turn those cannons around and aim at the real fodder in town. Let your pen be mightier than their sword. Show our police commissioners what democracy really looks like. New leadership in April should bring us relief in June. Or maybe Leah Foley will take care of that for us before then. Wouldn't that be nice? That's it. Thank you.
All right, next we have Miss Holly Hunter. Give us a second. Ms. Hunter, are you there?
Good evening. This is Holly Hunter calling. I just wanted to kick off with a clip from your charming select board clerk, Chrissy Albert here. That right there, gentlemen, that is what your clerk, Chrissy Albert, thinks of Canton women. Now, special leak footage was courtesy of something they call crusty panties, so you can give her the production credits on this one right here. Anywho, my name is Holly Hunter. You may remember my husband Wade called a few months back last year. Now, I know Wade can get carried away sometimes, but he did make a few solid points, some of which I'll echo here again tonight. First, as a woman, Chase Rafferty is flat out offensive, or should I say running down Rafferty as she's known at the hillside. I mean, my great-grandma Mildred didn't argue for women's voting rights to pave the way for her. No siree, Bob. Then you've got Chicken Palm Charlie over here, who killed a man in 1994. He's out here calling up Yuri over at the state police anytime someone so much as breathes outside of his crummy pizza shop like a whiny little baby. That worked out real well for you down at Stoughton District Court, didn't it, Chrissy? I mean, what does that tell you about the confidence you got in your own police? And then we find out 9 of Helena's officers are chasing down rubber duckies for a year, dumpster diving, calling the stickers.com president, and all sorts of other malarkey. This is what happens when you dance with the devil, Miss Catherine Bader Esquire. All this when there's more dangerous criminal crimes going on all over Canton. Missing taillights, solo cups, a snowboard. Now take Jim Ferris, for example. He sits outside the pizza shop. He's wheeling and dealing, calling women offensive names and littering his cigarettes to kingdom come. Not only is he a litter bug, but he's just rude. And don't even get me started on Chrissy's son, Colin Albert. That young man is a few fries short of a happy meal, if you know what I mean. I mean, every dog has its day, but the bang bang and the pull-up bitch and the espresso martinis and the Adele, it needs to stop. I guess that's what happens with Chrissy for a father, as an example. Oh, and he was in the house. We all know it. Anyways, I hope you gentlemen will take some of this to heart. Oh, and Wade was wrong about one thing. The chicken parm isn't mediocre. It is god awful. Thank you.
All right, next we have Miss Lombardi.
Hi, Rita Lombardi. Today is January 21st, 2025. It is a new year, which is always a great opportunity to reflect and commit to positive changes to further ourselves. I'd like to remind you that the last time this select board met in person for the citizens, with the citizens, to attend the meeting was July 9th. That meeting will go down in infamy for the town of Canton, as who can ever forget that day when the retired police detective working the detail tried to physically remove a citizen from the meeting who was not under arrest, essentially assaulting her on camera for using her voice to insist on equal treatment of disruptive citizens. It is now 6 months later, and this is your 14th Zoom closet select board meeting. I'm not asking for you to resume the in-person meetings. It's pretty clear that the select board intends to ride out this COVID exception that I believe expires the end of March and allows you to continue to conduct meetings via Zoom. I want to let you know, and the people know, that there are 5 select board meetings between now and the town election on Tuesday, April 8th. And for those who may be unaware, John Conley is running for reelection, and he has been on the select board for 35 years. I want to let you know also that Susan Harrington is also running, and you can find information on her on harringtonforcanton.com. That's Harrington, F-O-R, Canton.com. Susan is a wonderful business owner, former business owner, wonderful person, and would be wonderful for our select board. And I fully support her. And I hope that you guys continue to do the Zoom meetings through the end of March, even up to the election, so that it is fresh on the voters' minds who is not leading in this town. So, you know, this is a whole new year. And I just want to let people know that, you know, there's many people in Canton working together to have our community come together. And the leaders are not doing it. So people in the town are doing it. And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on, there's a Facebook group, Canton Community Voices. It's for the community to learn what's going on. Some people find things in the paper, some people find things online. This is a Facebook group, Canton Community Voices. Please join it, because we're going to be publishing a lot of information that's going on in town that other Canton websites just don't cover. So please, the town, please, everybody, please be involved. We have an important election coming up.
Ms. Lombardi, that's 3 minutes. All right. Mr. Albert.
That's it for, okay,
Yep.
you're all set? All right. First up is we have Town of Canton legal notice for a public hearing tonight. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 140, subsection 57, 58, and 59 of the Mass General Laws that the Canton Select Board, acting as the licensing board for the Town of Canton, will hold a public hearing regarding the application for a Class 2 auto dealer's license for CR 89 Cars Corp. At 20 Industrial Drive, Canton, Mass. In connection with the application, the Canton Select Board will hold a public hearing remotely via Zoom on January 21st, 2025 at or on around 7 p.m. The meeting agenda posted at least 48 hours in advance will have instructions to join the meeting. Chris Albert, Clerk, Canton Select Board. I move that the board open this public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to open the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well. Public hearing is now open. And I believe that I saw that we had Cicero Neto online with us. Cicero, give us just a second to turn your mic on.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Perfect.
So thank you for attending this meeting. If you just want to give a brief overview of what we're trying to do here.
Of course, thank you. So I'm Cicero. Good evening, everybody. So yeah, I'm starting to sell. Hold on a second. Join us. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So yeah, I'm Cicero. Nice to meet you, everybody. And I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm start to sell cars in Canton, like used cars. So I'm located at 20 Industrial Drive. And we have couple spots over here, like 10, 12 cars to sell. And this is so important to get the license to be a real person and get good cars on auctions, and then everything like legal, and then to sell good cars for the community.
Okay. All right. And it looks like you're just going to store 12 cars on the lot.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so for the board, according to our Assistant Town Administrator, Ms. Chameleon, they have the required $25,000 bond, provided a copy of the lease. They have the special permit from zoning to store up to 12 cars overnight. And background check was conducted and Mr. Neto passed. So are there any questions from the board? Oh, Mr. Conley?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, through you. Mr. Neto, how long you been in the car business, sir? And how many people are you employed? Will employ?
I have been working with cars about 2.5 years. I'm starting to rent a couple of cars, and I don't have employees right now, just me. My
How many
wife
Do you
sometimes.
anticipate? How many do you anticipate, sir? Do you have mechanics or just salespeople or what, sir?
No, just me. My wife sometimes help me. We have 3 kids right now, and my little daughter has just 3 months, and I'm alone right now
Okay, thank you, sir.
over here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, was that 12 maximum cars? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
12, okay, thank you.
And Mr. Neto, just to follow up on Mr. Conley, it's just for sale, not, you're not repairing vehicles too?
Yeah, just the sale.
Okay. All right, are there any members of the public that have any questions regarding this potential license? All right, I don't see any hands up. So with that being said, Mr. Albert?
So I move that the board close this public hearing in this matter.
Do I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Albert, roll call
Yes.
vote. Mr. Conley,
Yes,
Mr. McCourt,
Yes,
the chair as well, 4-0. Next, Mr. Albert.
Okay, I move that the board approve the application for a Class 2 auto dealer's license for CR 89 Cars Corp. 20 Industrial Drive, Canton, Mass.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye,
Aye.
aye,
Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
yes,
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0. Mr. Netta, congratulations. We wish you the best of luck. Please don't hesitate to come to the board if you have any concerns or any issues, and we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Good luck, sir.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
good luck.
All right,
Next,
next
Mr.
up, we
Albert.
have Mr. Birmingham should be joining us with an update on the Sustainability Climate Action
All
Plan.
right.
There's Tom right there.
Good evening, Mr. Birmingham.
Good evening.
So you have a couple of things. So why don't we start with the power choice update, if that's all right?
Sure, sounds good. Mr. Chair, would you like me to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Just sending a request now.
Yep.
While we wait for that to come up, we've got a couple of slides here to help folks understand. There's some questions about the Canton Electricity Choice Program. And just wanted to go through some slides that help folks understand, sorry, start here, what's going on with the Canton Electricity Choice Program. So, Mr. Chair and fellow select board members, you may recall back in July of 2024, we began a new energy aggregation program that provided residents, both residents and commercial customers, with a choice of their supplier for electricity. And so that program has gotten off to a good start, and we've got data to present to you tonight on this slide and others that show progress on the program. This slide is just intended to remind folks again what the 4 choices were that they had to select their electricity. Through the program are the first 3 buttons, if you will, from Canton Standard Green. Canton Plus Screen and Canton Basic. Those were the three choices. As you may recall, the default automatic opt-in choice was Canton Standard Green. We had a total of 7,258 customers that enrolled in the program. For Canton Standard Green, that was the default. That's why you have so many more than the other two categories. Canton Plus Green was 102 customers, and Canton Basic was 450 customers. There were approximately 780 customers that decided to opt out and continue to receive their supply from Eversource, what's called their basic service. And you can see the numbers going left to right from Standard Green through Eversource basic service. The pricing difference, that's cents per kilowatt hour, was at 13.434 cents for the Standard Green and so forth going left to right. So that was the per unit price that we were able to negotiate with Constellation Energy. So far, so good. Any questions on this slide?
Nope, good.
Okay, great. So what this slide shows, one of the benefits of the program was price stability. We've signed a 2-year contract. Constellation Energy is the supplier on behalf of the town. And as we saw in the previous slides, depending on which program you chose, you had a different price per unit for your supply charge. What you can see in this slide is what the supply charges are over time. The gray line that goes up and down quite a bit is the Eversource basic service rate. So if I can just go back to the slide, this Eversource basic rate of 15.772 was the rate that we had in place when we started the program in July. What this slide helps illustrate is there's your 15.772, and this is roughly the price that we had in July. So you can see that that price was locked in, and it was the highest of our options at that time. What these green line, the orange line, and the blue line also show is the beginning of the program that we locked in our respective prices at 13,434 for the Standard Green. Canton Basic is the blue at 13,003, and Canton Plus Green is reflected here in the green line. What I just wanted to, sorry about that, just wanted to show here that the pricing effective February 1 for Eversource's basic service charge is dropping again. And that rate is going to be 13.241 beginning February 1st. So what the benefit of the program that we negotiated is a competitive price, but not a guaranteed savings. And it also helps stabilize the pricing over time. As a result of the market, the energy market doing what it does, and how Eversource prices their supply, they were able to lock in at a slightly lower rate for their basic service price than essentially what the majority of the town residents are enrolled in that Canton Standard Green program. So we can't offer them the guaranteed savings for the summer period, February 1 through July, but it's pretty close. And we'd like to think that the program is providing some stability over time. As you may recall, this is a 2-year program. So we will be able to renegotiate the rates again towards the end of that 2nd year period. Okay, so far so good?
Yep.
So just in sum, folks will see the same price on their bill that they have if they're enrolled in the program. If they're not enrolled in the program, they will see a slightly lower price on their Eversource basic service rate. I will add that if customers are not happy with continuing to stay in the current program, they can always opt out. So that we're not locked into this. We encourage people to stay because of the price stability, but that is an option that customers do have. So next slide, this is a little busy. I know, Mr. Chair, you've gotten some questions about whether people have received some benefit of savings
Yep.
as a result of being enrolled in this program. What this slide shows is the cost over time from July 2024, when the program began, to an estimate of when that first year is going to be. And what you can see is based on if you stayed on the Eversource basic service rate, you would be paying in the month of July of 2024 approximately $25 to $45 more per bill. Based on this is for the average residential customer, which uses 600 units per month. So this slide in sum illustrates that the savings on the Canton Standard Green, the pricing was good for several months. Then when you see the price here in February 2025, it begins to even out because Eversource has lowered their rate and the Standard Green rate is the same. Over time, and Mr. Chair, if that's okay, any questions on this slide?
So far, so good. Thank you.
As a result of the small price decrease for the Eversource basic service below our other alternatives, we calculated what an annual savings would be for an average customer, average residential customer versus the Eversource basic service rate, just to show if your usage was the same as that you're used to, you would actually see an approximate $113 savings over the course of the year since July 2024 through basically July 2025. So it's still in aggregate results in a net savings for the average residential customer if you're in the Canton Standard Green program, even though there's a pricing change happening in February of 2025. If you're on Canton Plus Green, you get a $14 net savings over the course of the year. And if you're at Canton Basic, you get a net savings of $151 over the course of the year because that was our lowest price option in the program. So far, so good?
Yep.
Okay, last slide on this. The good news is, after all the hard work that we put in to make this program possible, and based on a calculation of how many customers are participating at what level, the great news is that as a result of this program, over the course of the first year, the aggregate savings for the town of Canton is almost $1 million on energy savings for all of the town residents and commercial owners that participated in this program in aggregate. So we're pleased that the program is working and provided some solid savings, even though they're not guaranteed. We're very happy with this. And what I don't have right now at my fingertips is another big benefit we were trying to strive for was a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. That data was not readily available, but we're working to get that so we can demonstrate that in the future. So
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Birmingham on the electricity choice program? So I asked Mr. Birmingham to put this together a little while ago and present it to the board. Once we rolled it out, I was getting some calls and emails from residents who were concerned that their bill was higher than they thought it should be. And so I asked Mr. Birmingham to present this, but I think it's fantastic. I would remind the public that they always have the option to opt out of this program if they so choose. They can opt out and opt back in if they want to pay attention to the energy markets and try to ride the trends. They can also opt up and down into the various programs if they so desire.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just remind folks of how to do that if they want to, or if they have questions on their usage or questions about the program, I will just reiterate there's a 1-800 number that they can call. It's 844-202-6101. And I can show you real quick, Mr. Chair. Let me just get this. It's not coming up. Sorry. Why is that not there? Here we go. Okay. So this is the customer service line that folks can call, if you can see that on your screen.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. So that's the 844-202-6101. And then there's an email, support@cantonelectricitychoice.com. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please call that number or send an email and you will get an answer to your questions. And Mr. Chair, just in summary to the general reason why people may feel like they're paying more this past year than they have in the past is most likely a result of the change in weather, the hotter summer, and the increased use in air conditioning that people required to keep themselves cool, versus it was not the supply rate itself, it was usage most likely driving that sense that they're paying more than they had in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Related to that, do the distribution charges typically change with the weather like that too?
Not distribution charges with the weather, no, but they
Okay.
do change every 6 months.
Okay.
So that's at least for residential customers, a little more frequently for C&I commercial and industrial customers.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Birmingham related to the Power Choice program? All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Birmingham, for presenting on that. So the Sustainability Climate Action Plan, a committee had come to the select board looking for support on adopting the new stretch energy codes and approving a grant for the town municipal energy manager. After speaking several times with the chair of the Sustainability Committee, I shared that there are some concerns related to the stretch energy codes and its impact on both residential and commercial building, as well as a possible impact on affordable housing. And I shared these concerns the last time Mr. Birmingham was presenting to the select board. As a result of some of these conversations, we mutually agreed to pull this article from the upcoming annual town meeting and spend this time reaching out to local businesses and our own facility directors and other key stakeholders to get their feedback so that we could potentially push this through at an upcoming town meeting. We also discussed the grant for the municipal energy manager. This potential position also has some questions and some concerns that need to be vetted with the appropriate stakeholders on both the school and municipal side. The problem is that there is a deadline in order to apply for this grant, and this needs to be decided at tonight's meeting. As an alternative option, I suggested that we instead forego the grant application at this time and instead work with the Sustainability Committee to hire a contractor or a consultant that can start taking some of the workload off of this committee and work with these key stakeholders to keep Canton moving in the green direction in a way that lines up with our facility master plans. I would like to start working on the parameters of what we want this person to do, looping in the schools, our facilities team, and of course, the Sustainability Committee, so that we are all working towards the same goal and talking the same language. The select board certainly supports the work that this committee has done. And when we have the parameters set in an RFQ or an RFP ready, I would be looking for the select board to support this contractor or consultant position out of mitigation funds. Did I sum that up appropriately, Mr. Birmingham?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may add,
Please.
I certainly appreciate the effort that everybody has contributed to this time-sensitive situation. As you indicated, you've had a number of conversations, and I know myself and other members, Jen Wexler and others on the committee, have been working very hard since we presented this opportunity, particularly the Energy Manager grant, We just found out about it in late November, and since that time, we've had a really good opportunity to talk to a lot of different people and identify lots of different questions, lots of different opportunities that an energy manager could do for the town. I would be remiss in saying that our heart is in the right place to try to identify a resource to help the town reduce its energy burden, save costs, and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We've made good progress over this time, and we understand the select board's need to provide an alternative approach, and we appreciate that. If I may add, Mr. Chair, based on the latest developments, I haven't had a chance to communicate this back to the committee. We have our next meeting on Thursday, the 23rd, and I will certainly communicate that with them. We understand that the opportunity to source funds from the mitigation fund, those are very welcome words for us. Our goal is there's a lot of work to do, and we're really trying to get that work done in the most efficient and economic way. So this gives us an opportunity to get some more time and not be subject to all the requirements of a grant. As you and others know, a grant does come with some strings. It's not just free money.
Yeah.
And we understand the need to be more clear about the town's needs and try to meet those opportunities with the right funding at the right time. I would just ask if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, we do still have some questions about what this means for the committee and for the work ahead. I would like to give a little more time to think about that and present that to the committee and come back with you with some ideas. I guess for the purposes of tonight, I welcome the opportunity to go in this direction, but just having learned about this, I do have some other questions that I'd like to work through. Examples would be whether or not we could leverage our adder that is available to us through the Canton Electricity Choice Program that I just reviewed. There is some additional funding there that we may be able to take advantage of. There is the need to do some technical assistance with the specialized stretch code that you mentioned earlier, and there's a lot of work associated with doing that. If we could incorporate the roles and responsibilities of this particular position, the alternative that you're presenting, I'm not sure a part-time role is going to be able to do all the work we need in the first year. But I think we can make some good progress in use of that position to, among other things, help the town better understand what the technical requirements around that specialized stretch building code, as an example. So thank you. I appreciate your creativity and your willingness to work with us. I look forward to an opportunity to flesh this out a little further, and I will continue to communicate this to the committee and any other thoughts or questions we can bring to the table. If the rest of the board is in agreement with your alternative, we'll get something on the books and start the schedule and meetings, and we'll figure out how to get this done. So thank you.
All right. Do we have any questions for myself or Mr. Birmingham? All right, seeing none, Mr. Birmingham, thank you for our many phone calls over the last couple of days, to Ms. Wexler as well. As I stated before, the board is committed to moving forward with this, but there were just some concerns from, as you know, multiple stakeholders that I just don't think we could have vetted this out in time for applying for this grant. So, and I apologize if members of your committee are hearing about this alternative for the first time at this meeting.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add, there is a question on the impact of this alternative on the budget that we have presented to Mr. Scollins and the Finance Committee. I don't know if you have any guidance on that, but that would be helpful. I have the budget meeting with Mr. Scollin scheduled for the 25th, or sorry,
Okay.
the 28th.
I will follow up with Mr. Scollins tomorrow and I'll circle back with you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, next, Mr.
Tom.
Albert.
Okay, next up is to consider the approval of the Gridley School Memorandum of Understanding between the town and Historical Society. I don't know if you want to have a discussion about this or you want to just move
I
to
suspect that our fearless town administrator is going to give
kind of
us
a-
a little
kind of
background on this,
yeah,
whether he wants to or not.
before we move.
Very good. Yes, so this, as you know, the Gridley School is a historical building, so with that comes a historical covenant. And historical covenants have to be managed by an entity. And in this case, we are in discussions with the Canton Historical Society to be that entity, which I think makes perfect sense. They are, I think they do the same for Paul Revere Museum. So once the agreement is signed between the town and the Historical Society, we'll then file that paperwork with the state's Historical Commission so that it becomes recorded in the Registry of Deeds and everything is as it should be. We also have a small grant from the state to hire a consultant to come in and look at the Gridley School to see what the potential is for that building should the town wish to sell it. In 2018, at annual town meeting, the town voted to sell the property or give you permission to sell the property. So between the historical covenant, making sure that whoever procures the building, maintains the historical aspect of that building, and then with the study that will be done to give us potential uses for it, that will help guide a buyer, potentially a developer, in understanding what the best use is and what the historical requirements are going to be.
So if I just ask a question related to that, if a developer comes and they just find the requirements too onerous, like is there a time limit? Like, I mean, at some point that building could fall down and we would have to make a decision to, knock it down to be safe. So is there a time limit on like, yeah, we're going to see if we can't do something in the next, 5 years, or is it just we're in the early stages, we're starting this, let's see what comes back?
Yeah, I don't, there's no time limit because as I said, the covenant will be filed in the Registry of Deeds, so it will forever be attached to the
Okay.
property. So it won't expire. So a developer is going to have to maintain the historical integrity of that building. But again, we're hoping that the study that will be conducted will, kind of provide a roadmap for a potential buyer on that property.
Okay. And I apologize if for putting you on the spot. If we make the decision, so we have a particularly hard winter and a lot of snow on the roof and it just becomes unsafe, and we make the decision that we need to knock it down, does the covenant slow us down from that? Does
That's a
that
great
add-
question that I don't know the answer to right now.
Okay.
I would think that if there was an immediate hazard to life safety, for example, that, you do what you have to do and then deal with the ramifications later.
Okay.
But I can certainly find out what the town's flexibility is in doing anything to that building under the covenant.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because my memory serves, it was the roof that really was a major issue with our building commissioner.
Yeah, structurally, that's the issue with that building. The cost to bring that back up to code and make it safe is quite high, which is why
Okay.
the town decided to
Okay.
give you the
And-
authority to sell it.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Duty? All right, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Yeah, so I move that the board approve the Gridley School Memorandum of Understanding between the town and the Historical Society.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Mr. McCord, you're on mute.
second. Third,
Yeah, there he is. All right, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well, 4-0. Next, Mr. Albert.
All right, next up, I move that the board approve the common victualer's license for Napoli Pizza LLC.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
the chair as well, 4-0.
Next up, I move that the board renew the common victualer's license for Apollo Lefus Pizza, Inc., DBA Apollo Pizza.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well, 4-0.
So, Mike, I'm gonna fit in one of these not anticipated now
Yep.
for renewals.
Yep.
All right, so next up, I move that the board renew Class 2 used car dealership license for Jean Will Leo Orlas and Ricardo Orlas, DBA RJO Motors, 12 Revere Street in Canton Auto Group, Inc., DBA RJO Motors, 652 Washington Street.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
the chair as well, 4-0.
All right, so next up, I think Jody Middleton's going to be speaking on this. It's the approval of the sick bank leave policy. Am I correct?
Yep.
Is she going to be?
So
There she
she
is.
is there.
Okay.
I'm here. Just to give you, thank you, everyone. Good evening. Just to give you a little background, this is a benefit for full-time municipal employees. It is a sick bank where members donate some of their own accrued sick time into a bank. So if an employee falls on hard times, they can request to have additional sick time that the hours have been donated to help them if they have to be out for a leave of absence. So the committee gets together once a year and we review the policy and we try to update the policy when necessary. And we're asking that you approve the appropriate changes. One of the major changes is we put a longer probationary period on where employees can utilize the sick bank to be consistent with the probationary period of new hires, so it's 6 months. So they will donate their sick time and then they cannot access the bank until they have been employed for at least 6 months to coincide with their probationary period. We do hold open enrollment every year. So if an employee did not elect to get in when they're a new hire once a year, they can. And we implemented a 60-day waiting period before they can utilize the sick bank. So they can't just join and then utilize it. This gives them time to accrue their own time and to just have more control over who's utilizing the sick bank.
Okay. All right, any questions for our HR director? All right, so typically we would review this and approve it at a upcoming meeting, but the HR director has asked us to approve it tonight. So we would be waiving our administrative code to approve the amendments to the sick leave bank policy. So, Mr. Albert, do I have a motion?
Yep, I move that the board approve the amendments to the sick leave bank policy.
We need to waive the
You want me to
administrative
include
code
language?
first.
Say it
Yeah,
again?
so it's two votes. It's one to waive the administrative.
Okay,
code.
okay. So I move that the board waive the administrative code to approve the amendments to the sick leave bank policy as open enrollment for this January.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well, 4-0. And now
Okay,
we
so
can,
next, I move that the board approve the amendments to the sick leave bank policy.
Second.
motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
the chair as well, 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Middleton.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, I move that the board approve the personal action form and job description for Board of Health Administrative Assistant.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye. Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
the chair as well, 4-0.
Okay, next, I move that the board approve the appointment of sick bank committee member Susan Desjardins.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has
Second.
been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
Okay, next up, I move that the board appoint the inspector of plumbing and gas, James Karabitis.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 aye,
Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
Next, I move that the board approve the reappointment of the representative to the Norfolk County Advisory Board, John Conley.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. So as Mr. Albert stated, this is just a reappointment. Mr. Conley has served as the representative for the Norfolk County Advisory Board as a representative of Canton and the Canton Select Board. So this is just a reappointment. So any questions, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
So I move that the board appoint a representative to the Sustainability and Climate Action Planning Committee, Alana Murphy.
Do I have a second?
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. So the Sustainability Climate Action Planning Committee just had somebody resign. Ms. Murphy had applied to be on this committee, so she was kind of in waiting. And so this is just to appoint to an opening on that committee. Any questions to discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Roll
Aye.
call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm going to jump to another appointment that's not, wasn't on the
Yep.
original agenda.
Yep.
I move that we appoint to the rink assistant, Georgia Campbell.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 aye,
Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
All right, next up, I move that the board approve the application to obtain a special license to serve wine and malt beverages at 4 theater performances, January 24th, 2025, January 25th, 2025, January 31st, 2025, February 1st, 2025, from 8 p.m. at 3 Randolph Street, contingent upon building commissioner, police chief, and fire chief's approval.
Do I have a second?
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. Mr. Duty, where's 3 Randolph Street?
Mass
Mass
Hospital School.
Papa School.
That is
Oh,
the
okay.
Pappas, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing is, Mr. Chair, if I could point out that
Yep.
it just says a starting time, but not an ending time.
Any comments on that, Mr. Duty? Don't we usually say 8 to
Was it-
11 or something like that?
Yeah, it's typically 8 to 11, but that's,
Okay.
they're doing a play in their auditorium, so they're typically out of there by 11 o'clock.
Okay. All right, so motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes, sir.
Mr. McCourt,
yes,
and the chair as well, 4-0.
Okay, next up, I move that the board authorize and accept the use of the gift in accordance with the terms thereof under Mass General Law 44 subsection 53A, the following donations to the Department of Elder and Human Services of $100 from Elaine B. Stevens.
second,
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes, sir.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well, 4-0.
Okay, next up, the vendor warrant total for the week of January 2nd, 2025, $931,292.66. The payroll warrant total for the week of January 2nd, 2025, $5,063.97. The vendor payroll warrant for the week of January 9th, 2025, $2,495,695.22. The payroll warrant total for the week of January 9th, 2025, $1,800,304.13. The vendor warrant total for the week of January 16th, 2025, $2,254,570.71.
All right. Next, Mr. Albert.
All right, so next up, I move that the board approve the minutes, the select board minutes on January 7th, 2025 and January 15th, 2025.
Second.
I have a second. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Roll call vote, Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
and the chair as well, 4-0.
Okay, so next up is the town administrator update. Mr. Duty?
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Just one thing, just want to update the board that the finance director, myself, the assistant town administrator, beginning the operational budget reviews with our department heads over the next couple of weeks. So we'll be meeting with all the department heads to discuss their operational budgets, what their requests are, before that goes to finance committee. So it'll be a busy couple of weeks. People will come in with very legitimate requests, and we will do our best to fund what we can.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Duty. Any other announcements on the board? I have two announcements, if I could. So first, I wanted to update the board that I met with our finance director and looking at the requests for this upcoming town meeting for free cash. There does not look to be enough money for both the Indian Lane and pickleball project. As a result, I will be asking for mitigation funds for the Indian Lane project at our next select board meeting. And I will put the pickleball project through annual town meeting and try and get that paid through with free cash. So the only reason I'm not asking for this at this meeting for Indian Lane is I just want to talk with Alphonse and make sure that I have the correct numbers one final time, but I will be bringing that back to the board.
Great.
All right. And my only other announcement, I wanted to wish a happy birthday to our town administrator, Charlie Duty, whose birthday was yesterday, and a happy birthday to Select Board member John Conley, and a happy birthday to Select Board Vice Chair John McCourt, whose birthdays are both today. So
Wow.
Happy birthday, gentlemen,
Happy birthday, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
from the
Thank you.
town of Canton.
Wow.
All right,
49 months
that's
again.
all I have. If there's nothing else.
If you like that cake, we'll have to call the fire department.
All right, last announcement, Mr.
All
Albert.
right, so the select board will hold its next meeting Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, 7 p.m. remotely via Zoom. So I move that the board end tonight's meeting at 7:59.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Albert,
Yes.
Mr. Conley, you're on mute.
So
Yes, sir.
how we like it.
Yes, all right. And Mr. McCourt?
Yes.
All right, 4-0. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, guys. Happy
Thank you.
birthday,
Have a good
John,
night.
JR,
Thank
and
you.
Charlotte.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night,
Thanks, guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris.